Hey, lifers. Today I'm sharing a podcast I absolutely love, Slaycation. It's hosted by a former social worker and true crime junkie, her comedy screenwriter husband, and his Emmy-nominated TV producing partner. This show puts a darkly hilarious twist on vacations gone terribly wrong. Get ready to hear part of their episode, Spring Breakdown in Mexico. To hear the rest, just search Slaycation wherever you're listening or click the link in the show notes. And don't forget, Slaycation is covering wild spring break cases all March long. So hit subscribe to their feed to stay tuned.
Pack your body bags. We're going on a Slaycation. These are murders and mysterious deaths that happened on vacation. As always, I'm your co-host, Adam Tex Davis, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Kim.
The woman. Hi. Hi. Hi.
And my work husband, Jerry.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I can't do without the real
woman.
The woman.
Thank
the
you.
What
woman.
about the actual
The yarn
husband?
whore. I need my
Thank
yarn
you.
whore.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Love
need my
you.
work husband.
I love you.
And my husband.
We love each other.
Oh, okay.
We do.
All right.
We do. We love
One
each other.
big, happy Slaycation family. All right. So, Kim, where will we be Slaycating today?
Okay. Well, today we begin our Slaycating journey along the southern coast of Texas to the tropical oasis of South Padre Island, with access for an evening jaunt across a bridge to the border into the Mexican state of Tamaulipas, to the city of Matamoros, which happens to be the second largest city in that state of Mexico. Now think, it is 1989. No phones right at your fingertips, no internet, no navigation. Got to admit that a college student in the 80s is a different breed. If you had to do research, write a paper, or book a fun-filled week of shenanigans and tomfoolery, you had to...
I remember the tomfoolery.
Yes, remember?
Yes.
Remember? But
I'd like to book a week of shenanigans, please.
and
with
tomfoolery.
jaunt of tomfoolery.
My friend Tom will be there. Last name Foolery.
But let's face it, you had to do the work.
You did.
You
and you
had to
also
do the
knew
work.
when you did the work, you were just going to be there. There's not going to be a million cameras and uploads. You could just go and have fun.
That's correct. And in that time, in that period, researching required leaving your house. And most college kids didn't have a computer, much less the internet. If you were booking a trip, you had to talk to somebody. And if you were driving and you were lost, well, you had to look at a map.
Yeah, right. You couldn't just pull up a GPS or look on your phone. If you got lost, especially in a foreign country, back then, if you got lost,
Right.
you really didn't know where you were.
Or my mom would be, Michael, ask someone.
Right.
Michael,
okay.
ask someone.
Right.
Someone.
So there's that, too.
So any random
right.
person would know more.
Someone.
Yeah, someone,
Right.
anyone.
So it would be a reunion of sorts for these four spring-breaking compadres. Mark Kilroy, a pre-med student at the University of Texas at Austin, Bill Huddleston and Bradley Moore, an engineering student, both juniors at Texas A&M University, and Brent Martin at Alvin Community College. So the boys, they had remained close, having grown up playing sports, attending elementary or high school together. Both Mark and his buddy Bradley had been to South Padre Island prior and were very much looking forward to the time to, as the memorable mantra of A Different World, relax, relate, release.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys didn't watch A Different World,
Oh,
but
no,
I did.
I've been talking about Whitney. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
Whitley Gilbert.
Whitley, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, that was the mantra. Relax,
Whitley,
relate.
not Whitney. Whitley. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that show in a minute.
I know, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It has been said that Mark and Bradley had been talking about spring break since the fall. Although I don't know any college kid that isn't talking about spring break.
Right.
The
Thinking
second
about it.
school
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah.
Right.
These kids were also like serious students.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Mark
no.
in particular, he was. I read that his uncle was a doctor, and he
Yep.
really looked up to his uncle, and he really wanted to be a doctor. So he was pre med, very religious, but very tolerant, good kid.
You know what? Give me the rundown one more time. I just want to make sure I have it in my head. So there's 4 college kids.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They all go to different schools?
2 of them go to A&M.
Okay. Texas A&M.
Right.
2 at University of Texas at Austin.
Right.
Okay. And then the other one was you said community college?
Right.
Okay. And they all grew up together?
Yeah, they all grew up together. They played sports together.
And what's funny is Mark, who's the person we're going to be talking more about in this episode, he was born in 1968, which sounds like a million years ago, but it's kind of around when we were all born.
Yeah.
You know, like this spring break was happening in March of 1989, which could have been any of us.
Yeah.
Like we were all in college at that time.
Exactly.
That part of this story I found really, relatable. Like,
okay. So 4 kids, they go to South Padre Island in Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
So on Friday, March 10th, 1989, Bradley, he had finished his midterms. He hopped in his Mustang, and his first stop was Austin to pick up his buddy Mark. And the duo made their way along the Texas highway, grabbed their friends Brent and Bill, and on they went to South Padre Island. They happened to hit a heavy fog, and so this slowed their trip down exponentially as they had to really be careful on the highway. But spirits were high, and the long drive gave them an opportunity to catch up, discuss their summer plans, their plans for the upcoming semester. And the boys would be going into their senior year, and they began to lament how different next year would be. They would likely be getting ready for graduation, and the reality of true adulting were on the horizon. Mark, who I think by most standards would be considered a hunk of burning love, was planning to sit for the MCATs, which is an extremely difficult admissions test required to get into medical school. And this was sort of the last hurrah as they all move on, go their separate ways following graduation, and really the last of their free time together as a friend group.
So this was going to be maybe potentially their last spring break together? Okay.
Yeah.
Could I go back for one thing?
Yeah.
What is the standard for hunk of burning love?
Well, if you've seen pictures of this young man, he is...
Which obviously you have.
Well, yes.
Okay.
He's...
Oh, all right. He's like me, except good looking. Okay.
And he's tall and athletic, just, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right, played all the sports.
The chin.
All the sports.
He was pretty active.
All right.
So now you know Kim's type.
Right.
Yeah.
So you must be... Never mind.
So they arrived at South Padre Island mid-morning, March 11th.
Okay.
The foursome checked into their room at the Sheraton South Beach Padre Hotel and Beach Resort. They showered, ate, and went to have some fun in the sun and luxuriate on the beach and breathe in the sweet tropical air.
And it was sweet.
Yes,
It was
I'm
sweet.
enjoying myself right now because that's a great place to be.
Yeah.
The cosmos kicking in. This is good.
All right.
This is good.
All right. I like when you're feeling it, honey. You got me excited. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, there was tons to do. Every spring breaker's dream come true, with beer companies sponsoring an unparalleled amount of wild entertainment. They hosted free concerts, movies, a free call home, much to the delighted parents of these young, hormonally fueled kids with underdeveloped frontal lobes who took advantage of this generous offering.
Objection. I believe the prosecution is projecting.
Anyway, I digress.
Well, but also just to throw in here. So when these kids, they were so excited to spend time together. The second, spring break is actually, it unfolds over a few weeks depending on the school's schedules, right? But it kind of concentrates into like a 6 or 7 day period.
Right.
It used to. And so these guys were so excited to hang out. They went down at like the very beginning and they just planned on spending the whole time.
Right.
So I just want to point, because it's an interesting point, is like when they got to Mexico, the spring break had not entered full swing, right? So it was still pretty chill.
So wait, Mexico. South Padre Island is Texas.
Yes.
Yes.
And then it connects. to
There's a
Mexico.
bridge
to Mexico.
All right, so the idea, but South Padre Island is
It's in Texas. It's U.S.
Right, but it's a spring break destination.
Yes.
Right, it's a crazy spring break.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
started in South Padre Island.
Okay.
That's where they started the first part of spring break.
Okay. They said, this isn't crazy enough. Let's go to Mexico.
That's not exactly right. I mean, basically, they were like, they heard that there was a lot of fun and spring break partying happening in Matamoros in Mexico.
Gotcha.
They were base camped in South Padre Island.
Okay.
And sorry, what I meant to say was spring break had not gone in full swing in South Padre. So when they first got there, it was a little quieter, right?
It was a little more low key.
Right.
I mean, at this point, the bigger amount of people, the larger group of spring breakers would not have arrived yet.
Okay.
And so when they heard that there was lots going on in Matamoros, they were like, all right, let's go check it out. Because up to that point, they'd been spending the day, on the beach. They're meeting girls. They're going to the Miss Tan Line contest, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So they're ready for a little change of pace. And so they planned a day trip over to Matamoros, which was going to be on March 13th, which would be the fourth day after they arrived.
Okay.
And they have a very simple plan. The plan is to have fun. And they're going to have fun visiting bars and clubs in Matamoros. And then they're going to head back that night to their hotel, the Sheraton, back in South Padre Island. And that is the plan.
The quartet had initially connected with a group of young female students from Purdue University who happened to be staying at the Sheraton across the hall from them. And the group hit it off. They partied all night. The next day, the cycle of fun continued. More tanning, more beach action, more soaking up the rays, and more
Calling home?
No.
Calling home is like a one-time thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the boys even added a nap to their routine to gear up for the nighttime antics.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Good
good
kids.
planning.
Good
All
kids.
The alcohol in Matamoros, Mexico, was cheap and plentiful. And the drinking age there, although these young men were of drinking age, I believe at that point, was 18.
Great.
So that was a great reason to cross the border and get your drink on.
Yeah. You don't even need a fake ID like our daughter,
Right. Right.
which she leaves out for us to find.
Yeah.
Actually, she asked us to pay for it.
Yeah, that is true.
Did she really?
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
She got one. That's how
Oh, God, she was going to find a way.
Yeah.
She was going to find a way.
It's like, don't make me steal the money from you guys. So they're in Mexico
Well, yes.
with the Purdue girls?
It was any and every girl.
These guys, they're meeting girls everywhere. Right. They like go anywhere. It's like a bunch of four good-looking guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys keep stressing how good-looking
but
they
I'm
are.
saying, like,
You're beautiful. What
You're
are you
very
talking
good-looking,
about?
Adam. We love you. You're very
I don't
pretty.
want you to feel insecure. Yet another evening of fun and shenanigans started for the boys at the Sonic Drive-In at Port Isabel to grab some eats.
Sonic Drive-In. Okay.
This is on the way to Mexico.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So
Is
now
this the
we're-
first
This
time
is
they're going to
another
Mexico?
night?
So they've gone back and forth now a couple of times.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah. It was,
All right, so there's a couple of nights later, they're going back to Mexico. They stop at Sonic.
and they met up with some co-eds from the University of Kansas who had the same plan in mind. And following their meal, they got into their vehicles, and the girls tailing the boys to the Texas-Mexican border of Brownsville. Once they got there, they parked and made their way over the Gateway International Bridge into the city of, say it with me, Matamoros.
Matamoros.
Very good, boys. So the group continued the folly and festivities with some laughs and drank at a watering hole called Sergeant Pepper.
It's literally a hole.
It literally is.
Sergeant Pepper.
A dive bar.
Gotcha.
The next day started the same in true Groundhog Day fashion. The boys got up, got ready to do it all again. The day started with another glorious day of sunning at the beach, a bevy of bikini beauties, and the daily occurrence of the Miss Tan Line contest. And more parties.
Mm-hmm.
One at a condo being hosted by some of Mark's old frat brothers. Mark had pledged Lama Chi Alpha when he attended Tarleton State University on a basketball scholarship before transferring to University of Texas at Austin
So he transferred from one school to... Okay.
Yeah.
But he was in a fraternity, and then some of the old frat brothers are having a condo party, you said?
Yeah. They
Great.
was having a party at their...
It was either a condo party or a conga party. We're not sure.
Right.
The research wasn't clear.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. You just never know with these things.
Yeah.
Or it was a conga party in a condo.
Right.
It's a condom party
Maybe that's what it was.
in the Congo.
So later that evening, March 13th into the 14th, the boys were back in Matamoros.
Okay.
And now it was an absolute madhouse.
Right. Now it's later in the week. So spring break is now gone from like, to like, it is in full swing.
Right.
Like tens of thousands of kids
Yes.
packed in this town.
Exactly. It was estimated about 15,000 spring breakers.
In that one Mustang.
and also in the Sonic.
Right.
So it's packed.
all
So
right,
it's now
crazy.
It's crazy.
Right,
Okay.
right. You had about 15,000 spring breakers making the rounds at various nightclubs and bars on the main tourist strip. And the boys decided on Los Sombreros. While not your average college watering hole, it did have the shortest line. And they decided to make that the first stop to get their drink on.
Short line, red flag.
And after throwing back a few, Mark, Brad, Brent, and Bill went all in on the cray. And their next stop was a spot called the London Pub, which would rebrand itself
Right.
as the Hard Rock Cafe.
For spring break week.
Right.
They changed the name to
Exactly.
Hard Rock.
That's so weird.
But I think also at the time in the late 80s, the Hard Rock Cafe was like a big deal. Like, remember, everyone had to get the T-shirts, and so maybe they were thinking it would appeal to these American kids
Yeah.
more than London.
Right.
So
Both are weird.
yeah, but anyways, they went in the London pub, now called the Hard Rock Cafe, for a few days.
Okay.
Right. And they drank and had a great time. And of course, it was drunken and rowdy, and drunken chaos ensued with the boys ducking beer cans being thrown all around.
Were you there?
Maybe.
I mean, you could have been.
I could have been.
I did find a Miss Tanline award in the closet one time.
Remember that T-shirt that said the London pub, but it was crossed out, and Hard Rock Cafe was written in Sharpie?
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
Hi, my name is Kim.
That is hilarious.
I'll be your waiter.
All right, so it's crazy time
It's
at
crazy
the
time.
Hard Rock Cafe.
It's crazy time, and it was starting to wind down, at least for our 4 college students.
Because also they had to drive back.
I was
Yeah.
going to
To South
say,
Padre
yeah.
Island.
it sounds
Oh,
like
yeah, they had to drive back.
And I don't know what the situation was with drinking and driving, but somebody
Right.
had to drive back
Right.
from Mexico back to
Right. And they
to
had
the
to
US.
navigate their way through the crowds.
And the flog.
And the flog. Well, I think the flog had lifted.
Okay. Do you have any idea what time this is? Is this like
It
4
was
in the
about
morning?
2 a.m.
2 a.m. Okay.
2:30
They pack a lot
a.m.
into the day.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they're headed back to South Padre Island.
They're headed back. Well, they're headed back to their car.
Right.
Oh.
Right. They're navigating the streets in this Mexican town, Matamoros.
Right.
Right.
Late at night, heading to their car.
Right.
Right. And, lots of people to weave in and out of, and
Milling
random-
about various states of drunkenness.
Okay.
And at one point, Mark and his friend Bill are talking. Bill says, "I'll be right back. I got to go pee," and he goes behind a tree to
Okay.
pee, and comes back, and Mark is not there.
I mean, it was like he just vanished. I think they looked up, they saw him talking to
To someone. Yeah.
There were some reports that said he was talking to a woman. Another report said he was talking to a guy.
Yeah, I saw both of those, but they saw him there. Bill walked away for a second to pee, comes back, and Mark's gone.
Mark's gone. The other 2 are still there.
Yeah, and the other 2 were standing a little bit away from Mark and Bill when Bill had gone to pee.
Okay.
So they didn't see what happened to Mark.
Okay.
So the assumption was, Mark must have just walked ahead to the car, right?
Right. And maybe got a ride with somebody. Although it was very...
Well, who had the car keys?
I don't know who had the keys. I know the guys said their initial thought was that Mark probably just walked ahead to the car and was waiting for them
Right.
to drive back to South Padre Island.
Right.
Then when they got to the car and he wasn't there, Mark was not at the car.
Yeah.
They then assumed, like Kim said, like, oh, maybe he got a ride with somebody, but
Right.
that also seemed very out of character for
Right.
him.
I was
And there's
gonna
no,
say, yeah.
there's no way to reach him because, no cell phones.
Right, exactly. No text messages like I'm right here, right by the X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z.
So it's very out of character for him to just go off like that. And so, they started searching around for him.
Right, just to
So,
get like the cursory, like, hey,
is he
where?
here? Is he there?
Right. Maybe he went off to urinate. Maybe he's saying goodbye to somebody or getting a phone number, whatever.
Yeah. After a while, they don't find him. And so they actually go to the police and they report him missing. The thing is, and this is true whether you're in Mexico or the United States on spring break,
Right.
kids just, you know,
Right.
the assumption is, oh, he's with a girl or he
Right.
was,
I mean, and
found some other people to party
the
with.
authorities were not alarmed at all.
At all.
They
Like,
really were
not
not.
remotely.
And they were just more like, you know what? Relax. I'm sure he's somewhere sleeping it off. He's going to wake up, not remember what happened, and he'll be back.
Right.
He, unfortunately, does not come back.
That was the first part of Slaycations episode 19, Spring Breakdown in Mexico. To hear the rest of this episode and lots more twisted tales of murder and mayhem on vacation, including spring break cases all March long, search for Slaycation on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this podcast.